Hello everybody. As you can see, skin color is somewhat similar to the paint in the background. Anyhow, completely irrelevant to the video. I'm going to try and tape down here. Hopefully the dog doesn't move and make noise because she's in the other room because she can't be without me for 2 minutes. Okay, anyway, the point of the video. I wanted to make a video about 2 weeks ago regarding this topic, and I'm finally getting around to it now. Life has been a little traumatic in the last 2 weeks. I somehow sprained one of my fingers, and I have some kind of tennis elbow injury, which is causing some issues with my workouts. It's not so much with the weightlifting, but when I do too much downward dog, the weight of my body on my arms causes me to be in a lot of pain. Unfortunately, tennis elbow is kind of a rest thing, and I can't really afford to rest right now, so it's a bit of an issue for me. Anyhow, off topic. I wanted to talk about a couple of weeks ago, at the end of July, I had taken a picture on my Instagram account and talked about trying out 6 weeks of being vegetarian. Excuse me. So I had started to do some research. I watched a couple of documentaries. I'll put them in the link below. I'll put the links below in the description box, and you guys can have a look at them. And then I started to do some research. So I thought about being a vegetarian. You know, I don't eat a lot of meat as it is now, but I thought, what if I cut that out? Would that help me? And then I looked into it some more, and a lot of people actually gain weight when they give up meat. And it's not something that I really want to do right now. I don't want to gain weight. And in all honesty, I wouldn't be becoming a vegetarian for ethical reasons. So maybe people hate me because of that, but I don't want to become a vegetarian because of animals. I know how animals are, and I know the process they go through, and I know they're raised for meat, and I know that the conditions in a lot of places that process meat are absolutely astronomically cruel. And that is a reason to give up meat. But in all honesty, when only, what did I read? 3% of North Americans don't eat meat. And I think it was a little higher in continental Europe. I think it was, I want to say 30%, but I don't honestly remember. I'll have to look it up. If I find it, I'll put it in my section description below. But in all honesty, with that small amount of people in the whole entire population that do not eat meat, it's not going to change anything. It really isn't. And I'm sorry if you feel that it will, but it won't. And the fact that it seems to be a lot of vegans or vegetarians that I run across are fanaticals. They want to shove the fact that they don't eat meat down your throat. And it's somewhat similar to my feelings about fanatical religious people. I don't have a problem with religion, but I don't need you on my door. Hi, do you believe in Jesus? Because, excuse me, because it's irrelevant whether I believe in Jesus. If I believe there's a higher power that controls all beings, then sure, yeah, that's awesome. But that's my belief, and you have no right to come to my house and ask me that, because that's an invasion of my privacy, and you're in my personal space. But that's religion. But guess what? A lot of vegans and vegetarians are somewhat similar to those types of people that come to your house and knock on the door and invade your privacy. They want you to be all or nothing. And guess what? The world doesn't work like that. I'm really happy that you've given up meat, and good for you, and if that's something that you believe in, but you don't need to shove it down my throat. I made the mistake of joining a vegetarian vegan Facebook group, and I asked a question about weight loss. And holy shit, did people lose their minds. This is not a group about weight loss. I asked a question. I didn't ask for your opinion in regards to whether or not I should be here asking. So clearly that was not a Facebook group for me. I was not allowed to ask a question about weight loss because that made people lose their fucking minds. Guess what? It was a simple question. You didn't need to lose your shit. The comment, I remember one of the comments. We don't have this lifestyle because it causes weight loss. We do it for ethical reasons. Well, good for you, but I asked a question. That's all I did, was ask a fucking question. And you people lost your minds. And guess what? That's why vegans and vegetarians have the reputation of being people like that. So people like that, I'm gonna use, sorry, this is gonna be a really long video because it's something that it really grinds my gears. People like that. So I'll give you an example of another type of people like that. So in the States, if any of you know me, you know I'm a big horse person. So in the States, a number of years ago, they banned horse slaughter and there was a whole bunch of celebrities behind this practice, and they were like, yeah, we'll ban it. It'll be good. It's not good. It might be good because it wipes your conscience of the fact that in the United States, there is no horse slaughter anymore. But guess what? You've just made the life of those animals that go to slaughter even worse than it was before, when there was slaughterhouses in the States for horses. Because now those horses, instead of spending 2 or 3 hours on a truck crammed in a trailer, they have to spend days. So they have to go to Mexico, which it's phenomenal, the unimaginable amount of unregulated slaughterhouses there are in Mexico. No offense to anybody in Mexico, but if you know anything about slaughterhouses, you know how horrendous the conditions are there. So they either go to Mexico or they come to Canada. So instead of spending 2 or 3 hours on a truck, they spend days. So they have no water, they have no food, they're crammed in conditions. A lot of them die on the truck because you closed slaughterhouses in the States. And guess what? That made your life better because now you don't think it's in your own country, but you made it 10 times worse for those animals. Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional because it's something that really pisses me off. When people don't do research on things and they just assume if we get rid of it, that it'll go away. And it's that mentality of, I'm a horse with blinkers on and I can't see anything but what's in front of me. And it's not a good mentality to have. And it's the same thing with these fanatical vegetarians and vegans. Good for you. You're doing it for ethical reasons. But you know what would change things a lot better than you saying, I don't eat meat? What would change things a lot better for you is to stand up for the rights of the animals that people do eat. To make conditions in the agriculture industry better for those animals. You don't need to take away calves from cows. It's not necessary. They'll still produce milk for you. They won't produce as much, but they'll still produce a phenomenal amount of milk. And those cows will be happy until the day that they die. You don't need to rip their calves away from them. It's not necessary. And those animals don't need to be treated. I've watched videos. I know what it's all about. I've seen chicks. I've seen selection in chick hatcheries. I know what it's about. I know what those animals have to go. They have feelings. So if we clean that up, would you not feel better about eating meat? Because I certainly would. No, I don't like it. And one day I hope to actually have my own place and raise the animals that I'm going to eat and know that they had a phenomenal life before I sent them to the butcher. And the butcher, Joe Blow down the street, knows his job, brings that animal, everything's stress-free. You're alive 1 minute and next you're gone. And you know what? Up until the point that they were dead, they didn't know anything was happening because they lived stress-free. And that's what those people need they need to rally against that. They need to spend their energy on getting better conditions for the animals that we do raise for meat, that don't know any better. Because guess what? They were born and they went right into meat production. That's the life that they have. They don't know companionship. They don't know humans. That's the life they had. They were born and raised for meat, and that's the life they have. They don't know about human companionship. And if that's the animal's job in life is to be raised for someone to eat, then I think it's the right for humans to raise those animals in the most stress-free environment humanly possible. Until the day that they die, they don't know stress. And that's what these people need to rally behind. Not worrying about whether or not I eat steak or chicken or anything else. They need to worry about the conditions that the animals currently live in. Because the 3% of the population in North America that don't eat meat, you're not going to change the meat industry. It's not going to happen. If you turned around and stopped being so fanatical about whether or not I eat meat and worried about the animal that is being raised for me, then things would change. And that's where it needs to come from. It needs to come from a thought process of changing where the animal is, not what I feel. Because I'm going to keep eating meat, because I like meat. And I don't know whether or not I needed to survive, but guess what? These things here, they're called canines because guess what? I eat meat. That's the type of person I was. I am a born, raised, ate meat. That's how it is. I have canines for a reason. I may not be a dog, but I'm supposed to eat meat. And that's how I feel about it. So don't stop worrying about whether or not I eat chicken and beef and steak and pork and all those lovely things. And worry about the conditions that the animals live in. Stop trying to force your beliefs down someone else's throat and worry about the animals. Like I said about the slaughterhouses, you can't get rid of everything because although you don't see it anymore, it doesn't mean it's not there. It's still there. So worry about them, worry about the animals and the conditions that they live in, and stop worrying about the people who eat meat. Because you harping on people that eat barbecue and yada, yada, yada is not going to change it. You need to go to the base of the problem and change the agricultural practices because all it is about money and the government forcing people to become factory farms so they don't lose their family business. And that's a government level thing. Forcing cattle owners to take their calves away from the mom as soon as they're born or within hours because you want more milk out of your cow. Guess what? I'm not the bad guy here. The person that eats meat. I'm not the bad guy. It's the person that's involved in raising the animal and the pressure that they feel from the government to get as much as they can out of their animal. And that's where the problem lies. Not in me that eats steak for dinner once every 2 weeks. So that's where you need to start. Not on me. You need to start on the government. So stop forcing your views down just Joe Blow's random fucking throat and worry about other things. Worry about the animals themselves. The animals that are in meat production. Because guess what? 3% of you is not going to change animals being raised for meat in North America. It's not going to happen. So if you're really worried about the condition of the animal, then get the conditions changed. At least make their life better for the time that they are on this earth. That's all I have to say. So I'm going to shut up now. Hopefully I don't have to do too much editing. And that's all I have to say about it. I'm going to keep eating meat and I'm not going to be a vegetarian because it's not an ethical thing for me. I was trying to make it me healthier, but I know all I need to do is add more vegetables to my diet. And once I do, I feel better. And guess what? I feel better. I may not be losing weight hand over fist, but I know that my body's changing and my insides feel better and my brain is less foggy and everything is better generally because I'm eating better food. I have no cravings for junk food anymore and I'm really proud of myself because of that, because I thought I was gonna fall back into that same pattern again. So, okay, I'm done. It's been 13 minutes and it's a really long video for me. And I don't know, I only have 90 subscribers, which I really appreciate all of you 90 people that watch my videos. I may or may not get comments. Go, carry on. I'd love to hear your argument about why it's better to not eat meat. But this is how I feel. This is my own personal opinion in regards to people eating meat and the slaughter industry and the agricultural industry. And that the agricultural industry is a whole other video I could probably spend an hour talking about. Very something close to my heart. And guess what? One day I'm going to raise my own meat. And I'll know from day 1 to day 60 what that animal's been through. And they'll be treated really well. And then to the day that they're gone. And then they will provide food for me. And we need to think about that level now and not the aftermath of when the animal is dead from the time it goes into my mouth. That's not what we need to worry about. We need to worry about from birth to death. That's what we need to focus on in regards to animals and people eating them. All right, bye.